Is it recording? Okay. Really, Steph? Oh my god, it's okay. What's up, guys? Kitty Kameleon here. It's been a hectic couple weeks since Hurricane Harvey. Really, Steph? Really? What are you doing? It has been a hectic few weeks since Hurricane Harvey decided to pay a visit to Houston. And I apologize for the background noise. I don't have an ideal recording studio yet, but I am in the process of that. So here's a video that I started working on the day before Harvey decided to challenge me. I challenged the weather, and Harvey responded with a bunch of rain. This video will show what a typical day for me in dialysis looks like, and the process of how they connect me to the machine and how my blood is cleaned throughout the process. So check it out. Okay, so here is what a typical dialysis day looks like for me. So here I am, I'm getting weighed before dialysis to see how much fluid I actually have in my body, to see exactly how much we can remove during that treatment time. Of course, with the fistula comes cleanliness. You do have to be clean and take very good care of it by, if you use the lidocaine cream, wipe off the excess, and with lidocaine, of course, you have to apply it an hour before treatment to make sure it takes effect. Washing your hands is a must because it is a clean place and we don't want bacteria or germs running around or anything. So wash your hands and make sure to wash off any dirt and germs off your fistula. And be careful because with your fistula, of course, you must dab the excess water off so you don't scratch off any scabs or anything and cause bleeding. Here my tech is getting all my stuff ready. We have the tourniquet, the alcohol, the gauze, and of course the 15 gauge needles, which are pretty big. If you've ever donated blood, then you know what those needles look like. Here my tech is checking my fistula to see where he can stick me, like he can insert the needles to make sure they are perfectly in place, to make sure I get the best blood cleaning, to cleanse my blood. So of course we put a tourniquet to make the fistula pop a little bit to see exactly where the needle, it would be convenient to place the needles. Here comes the first needle, and by the reaction on my face, it didn't hurt, but I did feel when it pierced my skin. And we put tape to hold it in place, make sure it's secure, that it doesn't fall off while I'm doing my dialysis. And if you pay close attention, you can see where my blood is pumping. And you can see the blood moving within the tube. And see, you can see my blood moving. That's how strong my fistula is. It's pretty cool. It's pretty neat. And look how easily accessible my blood is with that super vein. Alright, needle number 2 going in. In my opinion, I think the first needle hurts the most because you don't really expect it, but you expect the second needle so you know how it's gonna end up feeling. So yeah, the second needle actually hurt the most. And here we see my tech cleaning off excess blood because I am a bleeder when it comes to my fistula.
Alright, secure needle number 2. Make sure everything's in place and that they don't move or slip out or anything, because from what I've heard, it's happened to people before where their needles slip out. And we place the tubings securely on my arm, make sure I don't pull them or anything accidentally while I decide to take a nap or something, because I do have to keep my arm straight and not move it a lot to make sure the needles stay in place and nothing pops open, I guess. At this point, I'm already connected to the machine, just waiting to start the dialysis process. Waiting. As you can see, my blood has started traveling into the dialyzer. And you can kind of see where it's starting to go and where it stops. So here we have 2 colors, red and blue. Red is the dirty blood, as I like to call it, because my blood is dirty, of course. I don't have no kidneys. It goes through a saline wash and into this wheel power thingy, I guess, to make sure there's no clots in it. And it travels into what I like to call Mr. Kidney, which is my artificial kidney. And then blue means that it's clean. Once it's clean, it goes through the blue tube, gets washed back into a little saline, and the clean blood travels back into my body. And that is the venous. Here we have how much treatment time I have, how much time it's going to take to reach my fluid goal, which is the fluid I'm getting removed from my body. And now we just play the waiting game until it beeps. Now, my only 2 options in dialysis are either sleep or watch TV. So I can't sleep because it's the middle of the day. So I'm just going to watch TV because I have nothing better to do with my life for the next 3-4 hours. So we have very limited options, but I mean, it's cable, so there's a lot of things I could watch. I could watch NCIS like I usually do, or Law and Order, or CSI, or whatever is on at that time. I honestly don't remember what I was watching this day. Now, one thing's for sure is with dialysis, we have to have our blood pressure monitored, because since it does involve our blood, there are times where people's blood pressures will either skyrocket or plummet. So here we have the basics. Saline wash, what I like to call the merry-go-round, because it spins like a merry-go-round. And it just goes round and round. And then saline wash to clean the blood a little bit more. And then we have Mr. Kidney 2.0. And that water that's within this tube is actually dialysate, which cleans the blood. And it's actually little needle-sized pockets that catch all the toxins in there. And then the blood goes through those and into the blue tube. And back into my body. That's clean blood. And of course, that tube is connected to a bag of saline that they use at the end of treatment to push the rest of my blood back into my body. And here we are keeping an eye on Hurricane Harvey, because this is before Harvey decided to hit Houston. Of course, because of the state of emergency we're going through with Harvey, we have an emergency packet that contains a specific diet in case we have certain things. And we still have to watch our diet during this hurricane because it is a state of emergency. And oh look, I have a sandwich. Important. Always have a snack with you, because you never know when you're going to get hungry And also, you never know when your blood pressure is going to drop and you have to eat something. So always carry a snack with you. A small sandwich and a drink always comes in handy. Also, a blanket will always come in handy too. Blankets are your best friends when you're in dialysis. They keep you warm because your blood is being pulled out of your body, so you get cold easier. I know I get cold. My hand gets freezing cold during dialysis. So here my tech is getting ready to take me off the machine because I am done with my treatment time. And I just got to prepare my arm to make sure my needles get pulled out properly. So that bag of saline actually pushes the blood back into my body, and they try to give me as much of my blood back as possible. So that's why the tubes look pink, because they don't want to give me too much saline and overload me on fluids to the point where I'd have to restrict myself with fluids even more. And we also have to make sure that my little tubes with the needles are covered, just so I don't get any air in my lines. And here we start taking off all the gauze, the tape, and prepare to take out the needles. So once they're able to get all of the tape off of me and actually have access to the needles, then that's the tricky part. Because it is a super vein, it will, I guess, squirt out blood. So this part is very tricky to text, I guess, because you don't want to get squirted with your own patient's blood. That's just gross and unsanitary, and you want to catch something that they might have. So safety is a #1 priority when it comes to removing needles and working with blood. And once the needle's out, you dispose of that into a biohazard bin to make sure that, no one touches it, no one is exposed to contaminated blood or anything like that. So always be safe when working with needles and blood and all sorts of bodily fluids in general. Here we're starting to get ready for the removal of the second needle. In my opinion, when it comes to removing needles, I think it hurts more when putting in the needles than taking them out, because, I don't know, I guess it's just that mentality of having something pushed through your skin. But, I mean, for some people, I guess they don't feel it, but for me, personally, having my needles removed hurts a little bit more because you feel the edge of the needles sliding out, so it kind of stings a bit, but it's not too bad. Here my tech is removing all the tubes and the dialyzer and the saline bag because it's a one-time use type of thing. And it was used for my blood. They're not going to use it for anyone else because that is terrible. So, of course, they have to dispose of it into a biohazard bag. Once we're done with the machine, they clean it off with bleach. And I hold on to my excess for at least 5 minutes just to make sure that I don't bleed or have an accident and bleed out later on in the day. And also to make sure I properly clot, that nothing happens. And, I don't have an accident and bleed out in the middle of the freeway or something. So yeah, just hold it for a few minutes. It should be good, and then they'll put extra tapes on it to secure it and make sure it doesn't move out of place. Finally, I weigh myself to see how much was actually removed, to make sure that I either meet my goal or I'm somewhat near my goal.
So there you have it. That is what typically a full day of dialysis looks like for me. It is boring, but I mean, hey, what can I do? That's my life right there for now until I get my kidney, right? So this is the Kidney Kameleon. Don't forget to subscribe, like my video, comment. I'd love to hear some feedback. Love yourself, love your life, and love your journeys.